So we're gonna speed run this today. I got football practice, soccer practice later. We're gonna test a 1 to 6 part 3% hydrogen peroxide, and then we're gonna test Yara Teprosyn. Normally you use this in corn, but I found that you can use it in other seed starting mixes just to give it a good baseline. The Yara just has a nitrogen and phosphorus and zinc type, while hydrogen peroxide is more like a sanitary type way. Normally use it for like wound treatment, early wound treatment, and use it for bleaching or any other types of things. It's a good general thing, but it does work on seedlings. I did my melons, worked pretty good. Here we're just going to use baseline water, and then we're going to use Growell's potting mixture. I find this to be pretty good. It works pretty good for what we need, mainly for flowers and vegetables. So I'm just gonna go over that, and we'll just mix it and we'll put it in the trays. I'm not gonna do what they recommend is cutting it with planting medium 50-50 mixture, 50% probably soil and whatnot. We're just going to do it straight in. This is just some residual left over. It is a little thicker, but that adds like an extra part in your soil. I just find it to be pretty easy to do. Of course we could make our own, but I find this just to be a lot easier. So let's get to it. So the first part is make sure you got clean trays. Pretty easy. You should bleach them out, but I know these are pretty okay. So just make sure you got a clean starting mix. You want to keep everything sanitary as possible and go from there. So I'm just going to open up a fresh bag of this. I don't need too much because I'm only doing 10 trays. I'm doing 5 trays with hydrogen peroxide and 5 trays with zinc. So it's got a good normal part. It's just cocoa peat, vermicast, carbonized rice hull, and it's got its own effective microorganism. So we'll just dump some of that out here. I won't need too much, but it's got some nice parts. Put that there. That's like the glove up. I've got water over here, and then the next part is I'm going to soak this while I prep my trays. All right, so the first soaking we're going to get to is we're going to do a cap full. It's got a nice little spout into here, so we're going to do a nice container, red solo cup, easy, found over the world. Just do a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in there, just a little bit. I like to do like a 1 to 6 ratio, 1 part hydrogen peroxide to 6 parts water. But you know, it's whatever your needs are. I've also seen a lot of other people do other types of mixtures, but we're just trying to soak the seeds and just give them the best chance they can to get treated. So fill this up. All right, so I got my mixture there. Yara Teprosyn, I did the same thing. I'm just gonna poke a hole in the top, take my nearly clean part, and I'm just gonna dribble a little bit in there. Normally you only need 8 milliliters per kilo of seeds, so I just do like a nice little bit, and it looks like Pepto-Bismol, maybe a little bit more. Just make sure you shake it up a little bit, because sometimes it can be kind of gelatinous, so you just shake it all up. The thing I like about Yara is it's very off the shelf. To get the right results, you can get pretty good results, but you always just want to shake it up, make sure you got everything mixed in there. I don't know if you need to cut it with water, but in my past I've always like cut it with water just because it's easier. But as you can see, like it just leaks a lot. That was one of the other things I was saying, is it really always leaks a lot, so it just gets really disgusting and gets on your hands. So you know, wear gloves. And see that changes, so just a little bit. So we'll put some seeds in here, move them around a little bit, and then we'll let them soak for about half an hour, and then we'll apply to our seedling trays to give you a chance to make the seedling trays. And then the cap never fits good, so it always ends up being disgusting. So I just get a little bit of water in there. Just like that, because sometimes it just gets so gelatinous. So I just mix it all up. Now look like that, and it'll give us a nice good seed coat mixture. As I cut myself. So right now, today we're just gonna sow the red hot F1. So I'm gonna do seeds into the hydrogen peroxide. Just get them good and coated. I'm not worried about waste or anything else like that. I just want to make sure I have enough seeds to fill 5 trays, which is about 500. It doesn't matter if they float or sink, it's still going to work out pretty good. So I'm just going to fill this up a little bit more. I'm just going to make sure that they're all nice and submerged inside in here, just to get them coated. And normally about a half an hour. There is a way to do it for longer if they're each year that a seed is aged. So it's like half an hour, 1 hour, all the way up to like 24 hours soak time. Since these are pretty new and the can's pretty fresh, we're just gonna do half an hour. So now I'll do my Yara Teprosyn. It's like a little salt shaker. That should be good. Now this one, I don't really think you need to let it wait. You just soak it in there and then strain it off. And then just good to sow. Mainly designed for corn, so you just mix it. So like 1 bottle is good for 9 kilograms of corn. So you just do a bunch of corn at one time, but I find that it does work for other seeds. So just a good experiment all around. So let that sit. So this one, let it sit. Set them off to the side, and then now I'll fill my trays. So we're just doing a 128. I like this for peppers. It's not as big as the 50 cell, but I find that it still makes a good pepper size thing, because we're going to do a quick transplant. Hopefully in about 21 to 28 days, your pepper is really ready to go. And as long as we keep feeding it while it's in nursery phase, it'll go pretty good. So our normal SOP for mixing is I just like to make like a little mound, like a little sump, like you're doing concrete or anything else like that with sand. So I just mix in some of the old batch into the new one. The new one's not going to have as much water, so if you need a lot of water, you use this. It's a simple 10 liter, so you can just pour it out like that. And just going to get this nice and wet. Not too wet, just enough. So I find that's pretty easy. So I got that. Put my water there, put it on the bottom so I don't spill everywhere. And then I just mix it up. You don't want it too wet, you want it just wet enough, because we're going to apply a couple coats of water. And it just increases the volume, so it's just the retention. So, all right, next, I just plop my tray right on top, like that. And I just scoop and just toss it right there. And that's why I like using this tarp, is because instead of having like a bucket or a bathtub, like people in the States use a bathtub or any other type of thing, I just use a tarp. And then if I need to reshuffle, I just lift it up. Yeah, it's super easy. And just top it all off. You don't want it too much because we're just going to bury the seeds in there. I don't normally like the backfill, where you come back in, fill it up like halfway, and then fill it. I just poke it down in. It's just easier. So with that, it's 1 full tray done. 9 more to go. The 120 liter Harbest bag is to 6 50 cell trays. So 128 should be the same cubic density, so it should get me 6 trays per bag. I don't have Trina work with me today. She's busy doing a survey on the farm, busy adding a road in the back for trucks. It's been a interesting experience and whatnot, so if you're like friends and family, you probably heard us complain about it. It's been kind of fun, but this is an easy task. I can knock it out myself, and the hard part is really just putting the seeds in. The soaking part, making the trays, that's easy. All right, with that, we got 10 trays ready to go, and it's about time to pull out our seeds and start sowing. Now that it's soaked, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start sowing. Simple process as always, just 1 seed per hole. And that you can double up if you wanna make sure you get nice full trays, but 1 seed's fine. You've already done and spent enough money on other stuff, so now you just, save cost on your seeds. So your seedling tray will look like this, and then now you just press it in the dirt, and then we'll just cover it. I'm probably going to use another seedling tray versus a dome lid at this time, just because I'll give it like 24 hours of darkness, and then we'll see how it does after that, and then we'll release it to the sunlight and it'll grow. Let's see our results. And it'll be like all death and destruction. Okay, we got germination. So these can all come off. And I just did this because you want to give them a little bit of darkness in there, and we can now toss on the dome lids. So hopefully nobody's died because of it. A little bit of wet. Looks a little wet for my case. So this would be the hydrogen, this would be the Yara. And then this would be the hydrogen peroxide. So got one, got a little bit of light there. So we'll see which method's good. The soil medium was Harbest medium. So we'll see how that ends up going. See if we can get the soil temp to warm up. Mainly just do the lids just because it keeps the moisture. Sometimes if it gets too cold, then they don't germinate, but these germinated pretty well. I don't see a lot of non-germinations just looking at that. The Teprosyn looks really good, so that one's nice to see, like random stuff right there. And then looks like everything germinated there, so I'm just gonna put these under dome. What will be nice is that I've got jalapeno, poblano, habanero, and then I've got our sweet peppers set up for December time frame. It's just the best time for us to plant because that's when we can make the most money. It's always just the way it works with our seasons, is December time frame is the most profitable part for the farm. So we're gonna go and plant all our peppers and our lettuce, iceberg and sweet corn and okra, and then plan for the second half of the year. And it's not farming if you don't have like a screaming kid somewhere in the background of the video, so that'll be fun. It is being tortured. So with that, I just provide this. This provides just a good even humidity and warmth retention in there. If you had mats and everything, it'd be good. Our daily temperature here is like 30°C, 26 or 30°C. It does drop down in the night, especially when it gets colder. So we'll get down to like 18, 19. That's why we're able to do peppers so well here, is because we have that nice cold snap of temperature at night. So your pepper really needs to get hot during the day and then cool off at night, and that's what makes a great pepper type. So this is a good start. I don't see any germination failures on this, whether it was Yara Teprosyn or just hydrogen peroxide, 3% hydrogen peroxide solution. It could have been 10%, I can't remember exactly what the bottle said, but 3 to 10% is pretty good. So it looks like everyone's did good. If I was to wager it, which would probably be wrong, looks like the Yara one has more seeds on surface. That could also just be the depth. All right, perfect. So Yara Teprosyn really did good. It's a very nice even growth. Back here is a little bit slower. I don't like that, but that could just be water and everything. These guys look like they could use a little bit of water in there. This is hydrogen peroxide, and this was just a 30-minute soak. This wasn't anything crazy, so it did germinate okay. And I would call this an okay germination. Like here's there sprouting, so I don't see any issues there. That one's kind of spotty, but again, it could be a lot of stuff of why it doesn't do really uniform. It could be your weather, but I will say that the Yara Teprosyn worked very well. It was very consistent, so I think that's going to be an adjustment to our SOP, and hopefully everybody can take some lessons from that. We could probably soak it a little bit better, but these guys look good. I like that they're all about the same height and they all have the same starting. But I would say based on this numbers right now, Yara Teprosyn is going to be 100% for all our seedlings that we do, just to ensure nice uniform growth and height. That one kind of sucks in the back. Not sure what's going on there because I thought they were all sprouted and well. And the thing is, hot peppers, it could be whatever. Anyway, rambling. I got to get out of here. I'm going to go pick up some okra, load it in the back of the truck. If you like the video, give me a like, a subscribe. That helps the algorithm find me. I know it's been really dry for the past couple of weeks. I haven't uploaded. I promise I'll upload like probably 3 videos, maybe even 5 videos in this week. Just there's a lot of stuff I have going on. So hope to see you in our next videos.